got above like 10, 12,000 feet. And he said, Aaron, can you take controls? I said, yeah, sure. I have controls, my radios. And he puts his chair back. He gets the paper out. And then he just starts reading the paper. Hey, and welcome to this episode of Aiming Point. I am Aaron, a long-haul A380 pilot based in the Middle East.
Hey everyone, I'm Michelle, A320 pilot based in the UK.
Cool. So, Michelle, what's been going on? What's happening?
What's been going on? Well, since I last saw you, passed my line check. So now I am fully back on the line.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Very good.
So yeah, after having come back from maternity leave and been in the, my return to work sims, then my license renewal, then I think I did about 12 flights. And then the last flight was last week, Edinburgh and back. Tick on my license. So yeah, I'm all back.
Nice.
No more flights with training captains, just normal, regular flights from now, which is good. So,
anything like hectic or crazy happened during the flights?
No, not at all. My flights were really nice, really easy, lovely, just short 2 sectors. It's probably been a long time for you, but Edinburgh and back, an hour there, an hour back. So I suppose the most annoying thing was having to do a slightly longer arrival because the 380 was coming in, and because the weather was quite low. Yeah, exactly. So normally when the 380 comes in, because of the I'm probably not going to explain this very well, but because of the wingspan, it does something to the ILS signal. So normally aircraft are based round about 3, 4, 5 miles behind each other when they come into landing. But because of 380, because it's all big and stuff, and it's a big old show-off plane, like, look at me, here I come in. So then the aircraft behind, we can't do an ILS. So we could do what's called an RNAV approach, which uses slightly different things to get you down to the runway. But an RNAV approach requires a higher minima. So the clouds need to be at a higher level for you to be able to be visual with the runway.
Yeah.
But because the weather was really bad, couldn't do that. So instead of getting a shortcut into Gatwick, you have to go the long way around. So I was like, fine, I'll let you know. But to be honest, all of my flights were completely fine, super straightforward, there and back. Maybe we had 1 or 2 MEL items, a little bit of high-speed tape in some places, but otherwise it was just nice and easy, which is exactly the way I want to fly. So yeah, super easy.
Oh, that's cool. Did you integrate back very easily? Was it like, I remember now?
To be honest, people kept saying to me, is it like riding a bike? And I'm like, yes. Especially when you get, because I've done, I did 3 return to work sims. I'm pretty much in the return to work sim. The first one is slowly getting yourself back in, starting the plane up, doing all that kind of stuff. Then the second one, you're starting in the air, you're doing an emergency. And that you're pretty much doing that for 4 hours, different kind of emergencies, looking at different procedures. Third one, same again. And then you're into your license renewal sim. And as we know, that's all about emergencies, failures, low visibility, RNAV approaches. And there's always something that's going to go wrong that requires you to put a procedure in place or use your memory item, something like that. So actually, when you're flying on the line, stuff like that doesn't happen. So actually, I was like, we're just going from A to B. And that was actually quite nice. It was quite nice. Cool. So it's just like riding a bike. Before you know it, you're just back in there. Yeah. But I think what might be slightly different next time I fly is all of my flights have been with training captains. So I've been with really experienced people sitting next to me. And it might be slightly different when I'm flying with maybe an inexperienced FO.
True.
Maybe has never seen, an intercepting the ILS from above, or has never done a shortcut into Gatwick. All those kind of things that just mean I have to be a little bit more on top of it, or might need to give them a little bit more input. Otherwise, it's absolutely fine. So
cool.
no, it was all good. Yeah, it was all good.
Nice.
Cabin crew were cool. Passengers were cool. Ground staff were cool. No delays. No slots.
Wow.
No weather. No, I mean there was one day where I was expecting it to be low visibility, and it was fine.
Oh, so, that's good.
It's all good for me.
So you dodged all the bad weather, because there's been a few bits of bad weather like lately in the UK, right?
Yep. Somebody sent a picture. Was it Storm Ewan? Where the whole of Ireland was just a red weather warning. And I was like, it's been pretty windy.
Yeah.
Do you get weather like that in the Middle East? Does it get pretty windy like that?
Really, I mean, there's a few places it can get windy, but generally speaking, it's not really that windy.
What about
I guess sandstorms? There's sandstorms sometimes.
Of course, yep.
Yeah, which then just drops the visibility quite a lot.
That's true.
So depending on... Yeah.
I was just going to say, in one of the Sims, was it 2 years ago? I think we did like a sandstorm scenario where it was more just to observe how much it drops the visibility, and obviously like it drops the visibility by quite a lot.
Yeah,
I think we've had it in a few occasions where if you get a wind from North Africa, so Morocco into like Spain, into southern Spain.
Yeah, no, it's really weird actually. It's like everything just looks like a shade of orange. Like it's hazy, as you'd think, but it's like orange haze. So it's really strange. I haven't had a big sandstorm since I've been here, and I haven't actually flown when it's been really sandstorm. It's like a light haze, but nothing like severe. Thunderstorms. There is some thunderstorms sometimes, and when it rains, because it doesn't rain in the Middle East a lot, or especially where I am, when there is rain, then it causes issues because the infrastructure is not really set up for rain. So if it does rain a lot, like, outside of the norms, so an excessive amount, then it does cause major issues. You've had it before where you've had
like big kind of like floods. Was that not too long ago? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there could be flooding because the drainage is not really set up for like massive downpours, because it doesn't happen. And then such logistic issues. It's not even just the planes at that point. It becomes like the crew getting into work.
That's true.
Also, not just flight crew, people that are doing check-in desks. People that are doing the food. They can't even get catering to the airport. So much logistics.
That's true.
Yeah. So that was a bit of an issue last year.
I think weather's always kind of on your side, though, isn't it?
Yeah, 90% of the time it's nice.
Yeah. Then it's fine. And to be honest, I think mainly when we're flying, when I think about like temperature limitations, mainly it's like minimum, like so your minimum oil temperature for your engine start, or oil temperature for takeoff, or minimum temperature in the cruise for your fuel. I can't really, not that, maybe there are maximum temperatures, but obviously in the UK...
You don't really think about
that's
it.
That's not my problem. We never get to that.
Exactly. I mean, generally you don't need to think about it, but it is something that you kind of keep in the back of your mind, if you know what I mean. Like I haven't seen any excessive oil temperature, fuel temperatures, any of this kind of stuff, but it does become more like in the forefront of your mind. But then it's weird because you kind of have to have both ends of the scale, because you could depart and it's like 50 degrees and then you're going to, I don't know, Toronto, where it's like minus 30.
Yeah.
So
that's
then
true.
you have to think about the complete opposite.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hot weather and cold weather ops.
Yeah.
The same.
Which is quite good coming from the UK, because we did a lot of cold weather stuff. We did a lot of de-icing, cold weather, just general operations, snow, sleet, all that kind of stuff. Whereas there's some people that will join and they've never done it before. So it'll be the first time that they've gone, they've even seen snow. They've even seen temperatures below like 10 degrees,
That's true. That's so true. And it's mad that you say that, but obviously, not everyone has seen both sides of the weather. Both ends of
I've flown with the captain the other day. He said he flew with the first officer who's been in the company now for like 3 years, and he's never de-iced before. And he was with another company for 6-7 years before that, but he's never had to de-ice a plane before.
De-iced.
Which is like,
what a life to lead.
I know, right?
Oh, you've never been stuck on your stand for 3 hours waiting for the de-icers to come to your plane.
Yeah, exactly. But he said they started talking about it, and he was like really building it up in his head to be such a massive thing. But I suppose you do like a lot of things in aviation. If you've never seen it before, like before you're going into a sim and you're doing engine failure, I've never seen it before. It's going to be a massive, big thing, and then you do it. It's like, oh, okay, I understand it now.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's always the way, and I always find that with maybe we'll talk about this probably another point. Like doing the oceanic clearance. So when we fly from, let's say, UK up to Iceland, or sometimes when there are air traffic control restrictions going through France, we're going down to the Canaries, then we might go on the oceanic route, which means that we use slightly different ways of communicating with air traffic control. And they're quite specific things that we have to say and quite specific things that they want from us. And just because it's a new procedure that you've done maybe once every 2 years, then you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? What do I say? And then by the time you've done it, you're like, oh, it's just like another radio call, but just need to add in 2 extra points. And it's fine.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I think we're so used to doing stuff like constantly repeating it that you don't even think about it. So when you really do have to think about something that should feel quite natural, then you're like, oh, have I said it right? But it's fine.
Agreed.
It's fine. You do it and you're like, oh, okay, it's no problem. And this also reminds me of like when we used to go to Innsbruck. I've not been to Innsbruck for ages, but again, loads of different procedures. You configure completely differently. And because it's such a short flight for us to get there, hour and a half, you're like, oh, okay, maybe what if I do this? What if I do this? You just do a normal approach. You just configure a little bit earlier, and then you land.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, okay.
It's so true. Yeah, that's so true.
So it's all good. All good.
Oh, cool.
Did you say, what have you been up to? Where you been recently?
Since we last spoke, I've been somewhere, I think. Where did I last fly? I went to Manchester. Yeah, came back from LA, so I did a Manchester.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It was good. I had some things to do, so I'm keeping up my UK medical. So and because I was in Manchester before I left,
you have a
I have a GCAA, so like a Middle Eastern medical,
Okay. Yeah.
So I had to go, but I wanted to keep my current medical in the UK up just in case. I didn't really want it to lapse. So redid my class 1. It was a revalidation, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
So I needed a flight to Manchester, so that's why I kind of had to bid for last month.
That's
so
fine.
It was fine. It was raining the whole time I was there, which Manchester, I guess.
Of course.
But that was cool. And then my last duty was yesterday. I was in the simulator. So I was a sim support for he is now a new captain. So it was his last sim of his upgrade. So we've gone through the whole command course, and the very last one is a LOE. So a line orientated evaluation.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
So we got 3 different failures. I think two technical, 1 non-technical.
Okay.
And just have to deal with it. Don't know anything beforehand,
and also for you don't know anything. Yeah.
No, I had no idea. Yeah, which is kind of good in a way because you can't study for it. You obviously study a general. Failures are going to happen. You study a general failure model and maybe brush up on some things, but you can't say, okay, they're definitely going to give us a hydraulic failure. Let me look at everything to do with the hydraulics.
Exactly.
So no, it was good. It was good. He was really good. Really good. He's going to be a good captain.
Good.
So
and then after this, he will have training flights.
Yeah.
Is that how they do it over there?
Yeah, I can't remember how many, but he has a few training flights with a training captain as his FO.
Okay.
And then I believe he will have maybe 1 or 2 flights where he has a normal FO and a trainer behind.
Yeah, on the jump seat.
Once he's signed off and done his line check, then that's it.
Then he's good to go.
Yeah, I think he's just maybe limited to non-ultra long haul flights or something like that for a few months.
Fine. Kind of like what you did when you first started. So the shorter flights,
basically.
just to get some experience. Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah, but it was cool.
You know what we didn't do at the start? We didn't tell people what we were going to talk about today, which we normally do.
It's very true.
Which we normally do.
That's right.
So
well, hopefully they're still here listening.
Yeah, exactly. You still with us? You still listening?
So we were thinking about doing some topics around soft skills, and I think initially we thought maybe we could do it all in one episode, but then after kind of thinking about it, maybe we should just break it down into sections, because I think there's a lot of good information that can come from each part of soft skills or kind of non-technical skills that people could take away from.
I think so.
Today, I don't know, we randomly picked communication.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And I think it's it's something that probably all of us as pilots outside of work should be aware of, like how you communicate. Are you a good communicator? Do you think you're a good communicator? Maybe. Does somebody else think you're a good communicator? Who knows? So
exactly.
So I think everyone knows as pilots, like we have to be super technical. Well, there is a technical element to flying, to learning to fly, to becoming a pilot. But then there's also the other side, the non-technical, or maybe if you're not in aviation, some people call it like soft skills, kind of like those things.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you're doing work experience or interviews, maybe you've heard those terms before if you're doing your preparations and stuff. So the ones that we focus on: communication, leadership and teamwork, workload management, situational awareness, problem solving and decision making. I think that's
it.
I think they're the 5 main ones that we focus on.
Yeah.
And if you think about those skills, whether you were like yourself a DJ before or a basketball player before, you're going to need all of those skills. You know? Look at you repping your Bahamas cup. Just ting. So those skills are always, I think they're always important.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation, one might be more important than the other in that time, but I think they're all important. So we thought, we just have a little dive into what we think is important, how we use them, those kind of things. And I just had a look online, and people may know this, but like communication, they say that 7% of it is verbal, 38% is your tone of voice, and 55% is your body language. So actually 7% is just what you say, and the rest is kind of how you say it. And I think that's interesting for pilots, because how often, like in the critical moments, let's say takeoff and landing, or if there's an emergency, how often are you like eye contact with the other pilot?
Yeah, you're not, right?
You're not, because you're both looking forwards, maybe having a quick glance over, but you're not sat face to face having a conversation like you normally would. Like if I was going to come up to you in the cabin, I wouldn't stand next to you and then start having a conversation. We'd at least be like at an angle or looking each other in the eye to have a conversation, eye contact, you know? So exactly, I think that's such a huge chunk of communication that is taken away from us.
Yeah.
Which is why it's super important.
Yeah, agreed. And it's even between like pilots and ATC, or pilots when we're talking to ground staff, over the radio, all you've got is that verbal and tonal aspect. Yeah. You lose completely everything that anyone can see.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And there's very few times that I'm speaking to ATC and I need anything other than heading and a flight level. But, if I'm in an emergency situation and, just like the tone of voice, it needs to be supportive, it needs to be confident, it needs to be reassuring. So it's all those kind of things to be aware of, because somebody can't sit next to me in an emergency and like put their arm on my shoulder, Yeah. Those kind of things that you might, do in those stressful situations. So
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, super important.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, Aaron, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
When you're flying with a captain, what about them do you think, oh yeah, that makes you a good communicator?
Yeah, I think for me, it's someone who they exude something that allows you to speak as well. So although they have more knowledge or they may even speak more than me, they still allow me to get my point across, or they still allow me to say stuff. Like, even if it's not just a conversation, actually, during work and we're briefing about a department or something, instead of them just telling me everything, if they're flying, I'm telling you, I'm going to take off this runway. This is what I'm going to do. These are the threats. They actually ask me, oh, what do you think? Is there something else I could do? Having some input from me, I think that makes a good communicator because it shows that they're actually listening. They value what I'm saying as well.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one thing.
100%.
I also think that someone who actually takes in what the other person is saying as well. So
100%.
Yes, you can be clear. Yes, you can be just generally nice, which is great. But, if we're having a conversation, especially on a long 6-hour flight or 7+ hour flight, if we're talking, I say something, and then you just completely change the subject or just ignore what I say completely, it's like, okay, right?
Yeah.
You let it slide once, you let it slide twice maybe, but after a while it's like, okay. So you're just talking to talk and you don't really care about what I have to say.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then it also eats into other stuff of the operation, other parts of the operation. It, when it comes to actually doing the job, you're like, well, you don't care what I think. You don't care what I say. So what's the point in me saying anything? What's the point in me
It's so true.
saying about that threat over there or that you're too fast or think you're too high?
But something so small can build up and have such a big impact.
Yeah.
It's so true. People that I've had that so many times where you're flying with somebody and you think, you're just talking at me. You've not asked me one question about myself. And if I do say something, like you said, you just start talking about something else. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Something's clearly missing here.
Yeah, exactly.
Something's clearly missing here.
And it's a breakdown in everything else.
Yeah. So true. Huge part of communication is also listening, but taking on board. You're going to tell me something about basketball. I'm not just going to start talking about cricket. I might ask you a little question about basketball, or even if I don't know anything, you can find stuff out or find some common ground.
Yeah.
But you're right. If we're on completely separate pages, and you're going to start asking me, oh, how much fuel do you want? It doesn't matter because you're clearly just going to pick whatever you want to. I don't know why you're asking me just to tick the box to say you've asked me. You're not actually taking on board what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So those kind of things definitely have a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
And I would say when I became a trainer, one of the kind of questions was, what is active listening? And if I'm asking you what your objective is for the sim, say you want to work on communication or you want to do an engine failure on takeoff, you want to get better with that. But I don't do any of that in the sim and I don't even acknowledge it at the end. You've not learned, your objectives haven't been met. So then as a trainer, I haven't allowed you to feel, comfortable to be able to raise something in the sim or practice what you wanted to practice. So
that's very true.
No.
That's very true. Do you see people communicating with you differently since, I know it was a while ago, but when you were an FO to when you're a captain and now you're a trainer, do you see differences in way people communicate with you, like FOs or other captains or
I probably have. I would say now as a captain, I'm a lot more confident than I was as an FO. Obviously, because you've got experience, you know how the operation works, kind of what's expected of you. I am very keen to ask the FO, what do you want to do? And I'm, unless there's weather or there's a real situation where I need to make the final decision.
Yeah.
but I'm also going to do it in a way that I'm not saying this is what we're having and that's it. There's going to be some kind of discussion. I'm going to let you know what my thought process is so that you can understand where I'm coming from. So again, we're on the same page. And I think as an FO, we all go in as an FO. You don't expect to be making the final decision. So there's no expectation of that, but you do expect to be treated as part of the team.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely fine. And I think as you move seats, you have to remember what it was like as you as an FO. Because of course I've had those situations where the captain didn't care what I said. And you're just like, you know what, fine, that's fine. But I wouldn't ever want to put the FO in that position. I wouldn't ever want the FO to say, Michelle didn't care what I thought. She just did whatever she wanted to, and it was like the worst day ever. Mm-hmm. That's not cool. Then we're not having a good day. And I always think, let's not get it to a point where if we need each other to work together in an emergency, you're going to sit there and not say anything because of the atmosphere that I created from the start.
Yeah.
So I think, it's just having awareness, and I try also to include the cabin crew as much as possible. I tell them at the start of the day, if we've missed something or if you need to ask any questions, just call us on the phone, knock on the door, come in, speak to us during turnaround, because it's not like an us and them thing.
Yeah.
And just because we're pilots, we're still normal people. We just sit at the front and we push a few buttons. We're still normal people. So we can still have normal conversations about EastEnders.
Yeah.
Or just, X Factor, whatever's going on now. We're not.
It's true. It's funny. We were speaking yesterday during the training session, the LOE that we did. The trainer hasn't got to brief us very much. So we just spoke about generally upgrading as a captain and how you're seen and how you're perceived. And it was quite interesting, actually, because he said, so you have a responsibility as a captain and you're also perceived by a lot of people as what your responsibility is, or just generally how someone perceives you. You got to try and make your perception from other people meet your responsibility. So it kind of meant, okay, you're in charge of the whole aircraft. As soon as you get on the aircraft, as a captain, you're in charge. Yes, you have the first officer, you may have another captain, but ultimately the pilot flying, the captain flying, or the captain that's operating is in charge of the whole aircraft.
Yeah.
Sometimes cabin managers, for example, think that your responsibility or your authority stops at the flight deck door and everything behind all the passengers is them. They're in charge, of everything, which in a way, yes, they are in charge of the cabin.
Yeah.
But the pilot or the captain is in charge of the plane, which includes the cabin.
Yeah. And that's a really tricky one. Sorry to interrupt. And especially when you're flying long haul and you've got loads of passengers. And also, it's not like pilots do a year of cabin crew, so they understand everything that's going on. So I get it. The cabin manager is in charge of the cabin.
Absolutely.
And not to take anything away from them, because it's not a job that I would want to do. However, there are going to be certain cabin managers that think this is my side, that's your side. So I'm dealing with this and that's it. And you're like, actually, that's why you need to create that environment where we work together so that you can tell me what's going on over there. And then maybe collectively we can make the decision that ultimately I am responsible for.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was saying, sometimes we'll turn up to the briefing and so the cabin manager is just sussing you out as a captain immediately. Let's just see how he acts in the briefing to see how much I can get away with,
Oh, okay.
I mean, obviously not all cabin crew, not all cabin managers, persons think this, but you can get them few characters that are like, okay, how much can I take over this situation? Or how much can I get? How far can I go? And he said, you have to do a fine balance of, okay, we want to have a good time, we're a crew, we have a good time together, we'll chat, blah blah blah, but also if something's happening, you need to tell me, I'm in charge. So it's a very fine line, and it's hard not to sway too far one way and too far the other. But if you sway either way, it could be very detrimental. If you seem too much like an authority figure, sometimes the cabin crew don't want to come to you at all, or they're too scared to come to you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you seem like too much of a pushover or too laid back, then they may not want to come to you because they can't really handle it. I'll just deal with it and I'll do stuff. I'll kind of go over their head.
Yeah.
So very fine line.
Yeah, it's a real fine line. And you don't want to be that captain that stands at the briefing table and says, by the way, I'm in charge.
Yeah, please.
Because I think that's already, it should already kind of be suggested by how many stripes you've got.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of,
exactly.
I don't want to say hierarchy because that sounds a little bit too much, but there is a gradient of who's in charge, and then as you work your way down. And you don't want to be that person that says, oh, by the way, I'm in charge. So whatever going on here, you have to tell me. You don't want to be that person. You've almost got to imply it a little bit with how you deliver your briefing or the questions that you ask, or maybe you pull the cabin manager to the side when you walk into the plane and you just have a little conversation between the two of you.
Exactly, yeah.
Just to say, you know what, I'd really appreciate if you, just anything that's going on, just let me know. That's cool. And then we can just work it out together. Something like that. But I think that's also really interesting as you move seats or new job roles, to be aware of how you're going to do that yourself. Because the first few times, and it also depends what happens on the flight. Because some flights you're not going to have anything, so you're not going to need to step up into that role or make yourself more of an authority figure. And sometimes that can also feel quite awkward. Because I've had a situation before where cabin manager wasn't cabin managering. She just wasn't doing what she needed to do.
Cabin managering.
She wasn't cabin managering. And then I felt a little bit uncomfortable because I thought, I'm now going to have to say something to her. This is mid-flight. And we're an hour and a half into a 4-hour flight and we've got to come back.
Wow.
And I knew the right thing to do was to say something.
Yeah.
But I was like, now we've got a situation. So I don't want to say something that makes the rest of the flight awkward.
Yeah.
But I just need to just say a little something so that we can just maybe rein everyone back in and then just continue having a nice day.
Yeah.
So, it's a fine line. You don't always get it right.
It is. Yeah, true. True. But it's a learning curve, right?
It's a learning curve. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think, I think it's also good to be aware of what you say as a person, but then also how you say it. And again, different personalities. Like if I'm talking to you, I probably say something in a different way, or use maybe slightly different language to if I'm talking to maybe somebody that I've never met, or somebody that I've never met, to work out each other's personalities.
True. And I think it's a skill actually to be able to speak in a different way when you're around different people, like code switching or whatever. But when I'm at work, I could be flying with someone from anywhere from around the world. Although we all speak English, we still have different ways of how we use the English language. And actually, it may surprise you, but a lot of the time people don't understand British people more than other people speaking English. So you speak so fast and you use so many different mannerisms and
abbreviations
things that just don't make sense.
Sayings.
Unless you're British, different sayings. So, you have to kind of understand who your audience is as well as just speaking clearly or speaking the correct phrase. It's also about who you're actually speaking to. Yeah.
And I think if we think about just making a real life situation, I'm sure if you're, let's say you're a 17-year-old and you're speaking to your head teacher, you're probably going to speak to them in a slightly different way, maybe a little bit more formal way than if you're speaking to your friends, and if you're speaking to your parents, and if you're speaking to your basketball coach.
Yeah.
So I think we all do it, but it's just being aware of, just maybe in those situations, think about, I'm not going to say whatever slang I use with my friends. I'm not going to say that to the head teacher. Or maybe you do. Fine. But again, just be aware of the different kind of language that you're using. Because I think it's not always the person that speaks the loudest. That doesn't mean you're the best communicator.
Yeah, true.
Because some people also sit back, take on board what everyone says, and then has a way of like bringing everyone together with the communication. So
yeah, exactly.
Don't think you're not a good communicator if you're not the loudest or you don't feel the most confident. Because there's different ways to be a good communicator depending on the situation.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I know there was one guy that I flew with. I was really early in line training, so I think I've been on the line for maybe a month, and I'd passed line training, so he was a line captain, but he was coming to the end of his career. Really, he didn't care, but he had his way of doing something, and that was it. So I turned up to the briefing table, and he said, "Oh, are you Aaron? Okay, I've already sent for the fuel. We're taking this much, and ready to go when you are." It's like, okay, is that the brief? Like,
because normally, what would a brief look like? What kind of brief were you expecting?
I'm expecting to get to the table. The guy say, "Hey, Aaron, I'm blank. Hey, how's it going? I'll just go check in, and then I'll come back, and then we'll brief, and we'll say, okay, did you read through the flight plan? What do you think about the fuel? I'll call the fueler. We'll go to this.
Have you been there before? Yeah.
Exactly. But no, he didn't even say hi. He was just like, "Oh, you Aaron, I've put this much fuel," and I think he even said, "I'll take it there." I was like, "Hello, my name's Aaron."
Yeah.
Anyway, I was like, "Okay, whatever. Let me go check in." Checked in, came back to the briefing table. He didn't really say much. I was like, "Oh," I looked through the flight plan. I was like, yeah, it's fine. All right, well, okay. Then he said, "Right, let's go brief the cabin crew." Okay. So he gave pretty, I guess, a standard brief to the cabin crew, but there was no...
just like a monologue.
Very monologue, very straight to the point. Here are the facts. Good. And then he said, I'll never forget this. He said, "So I've got this chart on my phone, and it was like A, B, C, and then 1, 2, 3. And each square in that kind of grid was a different shade of brown, let's say." And he said, "Yeah, when you're making me a tea, I'll have it with 1 sugar, and I want it this shade, C3. And you know what? We kind of laughed because we thought it was a joke. Like, me and the camera were like, "Haha, jokes." He's like, "No, I'm serious." We were like, "So he's not joking."
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Well, it's really been like this.
Yeah. So
that's like,
I'm this guy,
okay, I know what kind of guy you are.
Exactly. So anyway, we're walking out to the plane. I'm like, you know what? Start a chit chat. "So how long you been here for? How long you been in the company?"
I'm going to keep chipping away.
Just try, It's just one word answers. 12 years. Okay, cool. Did you work yesterday? Yep. Jeez, okay, this is going to be tough. And honestly, I don't think... So we finally got set up. We take off. He was flying. I think we got above like 10, 12,000 feet. And he said, "Aaron, can you take controls?" I said, "Yeah, sure. I have controls, my radios." And he puts his chair back. He gets a paper out. And then he just starts reading the paper. I was like, what? What's going on? And this was, I think it was a long flight. It was like to Cyprus or something like that. And I was like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
This is going to be 4 hours. And honestly, he just read the paper. He had a couple of papers. He read the paper for the whole way. He was doing crosswords, and there was like no communication other than SOPs. No communication.
Yeah.
So on the way back, I was like, when I was helping the cabin crew clear out, I was like, "Please, you need to come into the flight deck and just have your dinner on the way back, please, because this is torture."
Please. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But aren't those stories quite funny though? Because you're like, surely in this job, where there's just 2 of us, or maybe 3 of you, you're going to have to make some kind of conversation. Or at least say, "Had a long week.
Yeah.
I'm like, obviously fit to fly, but do you mind if I just want to read the paper? I just need a bit of..." That's fine.
You know what? I'd have been cool. Like, if you want to read a book, read a paper, yeah, fine. I have no problem with that. But it was just the way, can you have control? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, what's he going to stand up or something? Like, and then he just gets out the paper. Leans back. And
then he just...
this guy. Yeah, it was wild. It was really, really wild. And same way back. He did the same
just exact thing.
Even when the cabin crew came in and was eating dinner, yeah, we were chatting. He just, nothing. Yeah.
If I got to that point, I wouldn't want to be a pilot.
Oh, just retire, man. Just retire. Come on.
Just retire. You know, you've had a good couple of years. Just retire.
Yeah, it's time. Is hard work. If that's how you're running every day.
And think about if you're, you know, a UFO who struggles maybe a little bit with confidence.
Exactly.
You're going to be sat there just overthinking everything.
Yeah.
Taking it personally, because I think that's probably what most people do, and that's kind of what I did when I was brand new. You take it personally, like, oh, did I say the wrong thing? Oh, he doesn't, you know, they don't think I'm good enough. Or this is going to be really awkward. I just want to ask them a question, but no, I can't ask them a question.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
So
I think if I was
all kinds of the spectrum.
Yeah, I think if I was more senior, I'd have probably reported him. At the time, I was so new. I was just like, can I just keep my mouth shut? Just deal with it. I won't fly with it tomorrow. So
yeah, that's true. Because if you go in the sim and you behave like that in the sim, I'm going to fail you because that is a big X on communication.
True.
And
I would love to see someone go in the sim and pull out a paper.
That is confidence. Imagine just a quick little emergency descent with the paper. Oh no! Gosh.
Yeah. Wow.
That's so funny. I mean, I've had a few situations like that where on the other side, I've been the, you know, with an FO trying to, oh hey, how you doing? One word answers, and I think by the time I met them in the crew room to getting onto the plane, 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, I've used up all my normal questions. He's not giving me anything. We've not even, what do I ask now? We've not even started, you've not given me anything. So I was like, okay, fine. We just won't talk. We'll just do the SOPs. Yep. And I think this is also a good point. So SOP, standing operating procedures, every airline will have them where they're checklists. But the checklists are usually somebody reads them, somebody carries out the action, or it's like a read and response. So we're both included. And I think one of the reasons we do that is, one of the main reasons is for like pilot incapacitation. So let's say that this guy that you're flying with, he's not talking to you for the whole time.
Yeah.
And you don't have the SOPs. How do you know he's not incapacitated?
Yeah.
You don't know unless you poke him every now and then or just check if he's breathing, those kind of things. Yeah. But then if air traffic control tell you to turn left heading 175 and you call heading and he doesn't say anything, then that's when you're going to start to think, right, maybe this guy's not okay. But at least that's, again, like such a good reason for us to have SOPs.
Yeah.
So that if he doesn't say checked, if he doesn't acknowledge it, then you can be like, mate, I know you said you're going to read the paper, but I need you to liven up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. You know? It's so true. It's so true.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Some people just...
Yeah, weird.
Just aren't good communicators, are they?
Yeah. So did you do anything like to try and... Like, were you always good at communicating, or did you do stuff consciously to try and help your communication?
I would say that the biggest shift for me was first officer to captain, because I knew there was an expectation, especially speaking to passengers. There's an expectation that if there's a delay, if there's a tech issue or whatever, that I'm going to be able to communicate that in a way to the passengers. And also, whether, on the ground, fine, but also in the air. I need to give enough, if we're diverting for an emergency, I need to say something. But again, fine line. I'm not going to tell you, if we're in the sim, we've got an engine fire, or I've shut down an engine, I'm probably not going to say it as casually as I would when I'm talking with the FO. Like, oh yeah, we'll just shut down the engine. That's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, you have to choose the words correctly. You have to choose, you know, your tone of voice, how you're going to deliver it.
Yeah.
I think, and I know the cabin crew really appreciate when captains, if they can stand at the front of the aircraft, do a PA to the cabin if there's a 3-hour delay or whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
When I was becoming captain, I was like, this is the part that I'm not looking forward to at all, because don't like public speaking. Don't put me on the spot.
Yeah.
I'm a much better communicator one-on-one in small groups than in big groups. It's just not for me. But I knew it would help the cabin crew, team player. I've got most of the information and I'm making the decisions.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to delegate that to someone else who might say something that I probably wouldn't do, and it kind of needs to come from me. And I was like, you just have to do it. You just have to do it. You just have to like feel the fear, do it anyway. The first few times you'll be rubbish, but then you'll just get into your flow. Just accept it, And, you know, some of my friends are like, oh, yeah, do you do really funny PAs? Because the other day I was flying and, you know, the captain, he was really funny, did this PA. But no, that's not me. That's not me.
Not about it.
No, if you come up to me in the flight deck and we can have a chat, we can have a laugh, that's fine because we're one-on-one. That's my comfortable space.
Yeah.
But if you want me to start joking as if I'm a stand-up to 200 people on the plane, you will see some awkward jokes.
Yeah, exactly. People
you
looking
will
around
see
like,
me.
Oof.
Yeah, she's like, oh, just stick. Nah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So no, but just definitely not super comfortable with that, but I just had to do it because I knew for myself that it would be, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. I knew that it would help the cabin crew, the passengers would appreciate it. Then everyone's got the same information. Then the passengers can't start complaining to the cabin crew. Well, you know, the captain never said this. What about this? You know, so I tried to keep them as informed as much as possible. Maybe even invite them to the flight deck if we're on the ground and the door's open.
Yeah.
But it's something that definitely took work. Because I knew as a captain for me, once we're dealing with the emergencies, that kind of stuff, I think as pilots, all those kind of technical things we work on in the sim.
Yeah.
But we don't get to deal with the passengers unless we're dealing with the passengers until we're face to face.
Yeah.
So,
it's very true.
I think it still doesn't come naturally to me now, but I know I've got to say, I know the information that the passengers want to hear. I know they'll appreciate it. If I make a mistake, I'll apologise. I'll come back. I just try and be as honest as I can. Give them enough information without it being too technical or too much information that they stop listening, they don't understand what I'm saying. But, and I think part of the job also, not that I wanted to do it, but it was like, you just gotta find different ways that you can grow, different ways that you can like develop as a person. So yeah, I think that was a good stepping stone for me.
I think a lot of people think that public speaking is tough. And I mean, I don't think it's easy by any stretch. I know I used to hate it. Like even getting up in front of class and doing a presentation at school. I used to hate it.
You know when they used to read you your book in front of everyone?
Yeah, you have to read the book.
Why me?
Yeah, roll reading and it comes to each person. It was terrible.
And you can just feel the sweat as they get closer and closer, and you're like, oh, why me?
I'm next. I've got to say something. Even put my hand up in class asking a question. I'm like, I don't want to ask a question, you know? But I think, like with public speaking, I think it got easier once I knew the subject that I was talking about more. The more I knew, the easier it became because I'm now not trying to use up all my brain power to actually try and, I don't know, wing it through something that I have no idea about, which I'm actually not bad at winging it with stuff, but still. But you can actually just think about, okay, let me make sure I'm presenting in a better way. And I already know all the information. I've practiced the presentation a few times. So there's no issue. I think that was a big thing for me. And then, like you said, just
So
doing
true.
it.
You just have to do it.
Sometimes you just
otherwise
need to do
you're never going to get better.
Yeah. And actually, I think sports really helped a lot, actually. Like for me, growing up, I was relatively quiet in regards to a lot of things. I tried to be a bit more reserved and quiet, but sports kind of brought out more of a communicative side to me in regards to leadership and teamwork. And once they got more leadership roles within the team, so becoming a captain, becoming a coach, it meant that I was developing their communication skills, even if I wasn't cognitively thinking about it, because I'm just thinking, I'm trying to win the game. Guys, this is what we've got to do. We should do this, do that.
Yeah.
You're just naturally working on communication skills when you're not really thinking about it.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Yeah, so interesting. Yeah. And I think for, like if you're still in school and you think like, how I'm never going to be able to stand up in front of people. When we were doing our presentations to young people, like that's never going to be me.
True.
Well, I think maybe a lot of people, if it doesn't come comfortably to you, the only way to get better is to do it.
Yeah, it's true.
And I don't know if that's helpful, but you just have to be in that space where you feel a little bit uncomfortable and work out, right, what's the tools that are going to help me? Do you need notes? Do you need to put more notes on your presentations? Because I remember one of the other speakers, he had like one picture and then he could tell a whole story from the picture. And
some people are naturally good at that stuff,
Some people are naturally good, but I need little pointers so that if I can start talking about something and then maybe I can feel like my heart rate going up, and then I feel like there's a little bit of a wall coming up and my mind goes blank. There's another word there. I know where this story's taking us, and then you can just get into your flow again.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
If you're like, take yourself back to your 14, 15-year-old self. And if we're thinking about people that are 14, 15-year-old now, that maybe look at you and think, there's no way I could be a basketball coach, basketball team leader, thinking about becoming a captain of a 380. Like, that is so far away from me, but I'd love to be a pilot.
Yeah.
What tools can we give them to get to...
So I think initially it's small steps, especially at younger age, just small steps. It's
100%.
Not, next week you've now got to present in front of 500 people. It's nothing like that. So I think, like I said, team sports I think are great because even if you're not necessarily in a leadership role, you can still see what the leadership role entails and how they communicate. So how your coach communicates, how your captain communicates, and even maybe being in a scenario or in a group where you're much more comfortable speaking, then you can actually start working on these things. Actually was watching yesterday, no judgment, I was watching Real Housewives.
Okay, which one?
We were
just
watching
on in the background, and you were doing something else.
Who knew I was? No. What one was it? I think it was either Beverly Hills or Potomac. I can't remember.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
One of the housewives they take their kid away every year on vacation to wherever they want to go around the world. Must be nice. But before they take them, they have to do a presentation on where they want to go and why. So they actually stand in front of their family, actually have a presentation on the TV, and I'm like, look, this is where I want to go. This is why. So it's something that they're passionate about because they actually want to go to this place. But they actually have to do a presentation on it, which is working on their communication skills, their leadership skills, and in a safe environment, And
in a safe environment. I think that's so good. And I think maybe as a child, I would have thought, parents are so annoying. This is so annoying. I don't want to do a presentation. I've got to, write a presentation, do all of this. But actually, those skills for a 15, 20-minute presentation, where you're using like maybe persuasive language, or you're asking questions, or you're remembering the presentation, you're putting yourself in that position of maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but like you said, in a safe space.
Yeah.
Then next time, if you add someone else that's not from the family, so you've got a new face, and then next time you're doing it in class about something else. See, real housewives. Look at you, Aaron. There you go.
Look at this. Oh man. On the flip side, even playing computer games like Call of Duty. I play Call of Duty sometimes. Having your headset on, communicating with your team. That comes into it as well. Find something that you enjoy and try and see how you can develop skills through that thing that you enjoy. If you enjoy playing Flight Simulator, I know there's some like ATC integrations with it now, so you can actually be an ATC controller within the Microsoft Flight Simulator world. Or you can actually do the proper RT. Like there's people that will just sit there and be air traffic control.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, things like that, all of them kind of things actually help with communication.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Just interesting point that you just said before.
Me saying something interesting.
Well, that's why I wrote it down.
Wow.
Guys, tune in.
Wow. I'm telling you. You heard it here first.
Yes. Like, Call of Duty. That is an interesting point now, because, and then it takes me on to like social media. I think a lot of young kids now, social media is obviously taken over the world that we communicate. So we're doing less and less face-to-face communications. So maybe one tip would be try and have more face-to-face communications.
Yeah,
I think would be a huge thing, because not everything is going to be done through emails. When you go to an interview, whether it's on Zoom or whatever, or face-to-face, you're going to have to interact with people face-to-face. You can't be heads down and just typing. So I think learning about your own style of communication verbally is so important. And in those situations, when you said about not knowing consciously how you're communicating or what words you're using, maybe after those situations, after you've been team captain for your basketball team, afterwards think, why did my team respond to what I was saying? Or did my team respond to what I was saying? Yes. Why do you think that is? No. Why do you think that is? Oh, yeah, because when I was speaking to this one guy who missed a 3-point throw, something. Is that what you'd say?
Yeah, that's exactly what you would say.
Exactly. See? I got it. See? Like, I shouted at him for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Is that really going to work? Probably not, but now you're aware of it. So next time, maybe you can include your other teammates, or you can just pull them to the side, just say, look, what's going on? Do you want to come off for a bit? Do you want to stay on? I think you can do it. Try and use your positive language, motivational language, inspirational language, those kind of things, rather than just, you're rubbish, you're off, I'm the best team, pass the ball to me. Because maybe that's a good way of communicating. Doesn't tend to work, no. I think when we spoke about the soft skills right at the start, they all kind of merge into one.
Yeah, they do.
So to be a good communicator helps you become a better team player, helps you become a better leader, gives you better situational awareness. So I think, those things are important.
Yeah.
Do you think that there is a soft skill that's most important out of the communication, workload management, leadership and teamwork, problem solving, decision making, situational awareness? Do you think there's one that is most important?
I'm not gonna hang my hat and say communication is the most important, but communication can help round out all of the rest. So if you use good communication, then you should be able to bring the team together, have good teamwork skills, have good leadership skills. If you have communication and you don't know your situational awareness, you don't know where you are currently in space, you're flying in a valley in Innsbruck, and suddenly you're like, I don't quite understand where I am. If you use communication with your the other pilot with ATC, you can actually then figure out back where I am again. Workload management, if you have so many things that you've got to do, some have really high priority, some have low priority, but it just seems right now that everything is in your face. What do I do first? Use communication, use another person, help me out. What should I be doing first? And then hopefully it gets you back to a good place. So I think communication is definitely up there. I'm not going to say it's the most important, but it definitely
maybe once
we've
done, once we've covered all of them. Because I think also for us going into them in a little bit more depth, then we might think, actually, now that we've come full circle, we might say that. So maybe we can save that question again. But I think you're so right. Again, you're so right about
dropping stuff today. Just dropping knowledge bombs.
Wow, Aaron, you are on a roll.
It's been a good day.
Like, also let yourself be vulnerable. Like, if you're in that situation and you're like, oh my God, I've got, things come at you fast. Let's say, take it away from aviation, you're on a driving lesson. And you're like, oh, I can't remember how do I do a 3-point turn again? And then there's like a car here that's beeping at you. There's a lorry coming, and you're like, you probably want to feel like you're shutting down.
Yeah.
But if you let yourself be vulnerable, just let yourself be a little bit open and say to your driving instructor, can you just remind me that what's the first thing I need to do? Then that might trigger something. Then at least they know that you're not just, because they might be trying to work out, like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Do you need some help? Or are you just having a moment to think? But if you let them know, if you open it up, if we're flying and we're doing an emergency, and I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying to do this, now I'm trying to do this, you could also say to me, Michelle, do you need some help? What can I take from you? You're, oh yeah, great. Could you do this? You're like, yeah, that's fine. And then all those, like you said, all those things lead into better workload management, situational awareness. So communication is definitely up there.
It's up there, right? Yeah,
it's up there. It's got to be.
For now, it's my top.
For now, number one. One of one.
It's number one, absolutely. No doubt in my mind.
No. But, it's a good topic. I think, because it's something that's always going to be there. When you go through pilot training or air traffic control training, or you want to become an aircraft engineer, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Being able to communicate well is such a good skill. It's such a good, like, life skill in general. Because you think about people that...
It doesn't have to be aviation, right?
Doesn't even have to be aviation.
Yeah.
Like, for your wife, Felicia, I'm sure she has to use communication in meetings, in how she's speaking to her customers, how she's speaking to her colleagues, all those kind of things. So,
same with Brandon,
so important.
Running into burning buildings, like, communication must be so key.
Oh yeah. No, it's true. It's true. I think everyone can work on it and just have an awareness of what you're like, and always room for improvement as well.
Always. I mean, even now, I look back at the podcast and just like, so cringe when I listen back to my voice. I really sound like that. Did I say that? I'm so uneloquent. If that's even a word. See, I just said uneloquent. Is that a word? Who knows?
I don't even know. But this is true. But this is why we just had to do it, and then we learned from there.
Exactly.
So apologies if episode 1 wasn't that good.
Apologies if episode 5 is not that good.
We'll take it. Wait until episode 50.
Exactly.
Then you're going to see something different.
Jeez.
It's going to be so slick. Yeah. It's going to be so good. If we make it that far.
Oh, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I guess if anyone has any questions about communication in general in aviation or anything we've spoken about, just drop us an email or a message on social media. Email is aimingpointuk@gmail.com and or drop a note in the comments and we will reply. We'll get back to you, or maybe even feature you on the next episode as one of the questions. Yeah. So pilot perspectives?
Let's do it. Have you got something? I don't.
Got something.
Okay.
Got something. It's all good. Let me let it play, and then I'll explain it afterwards. Probably if you are not watching this on video stream, you might want to just fast forward past pilot perspectives, because you probably should see it to understand it. Okay?
Okay.
After 3,000. Okay. I see the speed brake moving now.
Pull up cues
Going to
coming,
23, Scooter.
Approaching the pre-flare. Arm the gear. I got a good light. I'm in the pull-up. In the pull. Max speed 317, Scooter. Copy. Looking for the ball bar. Okay. 700. I got a ball bar. 600. 500. 400. Gear down. On time. Driving it down. Intercepting the ball bar.
Here's down.
150. Good. Looking good. Good ball bar. 50 to 50. 30 to 30. 20 to 20. Right there. 10 to 10. I agree. You're down. Shoot.
Nice.
185. Derotating. Good rate. 2. Wow.
I feel like I need that explained to me a little bit before I...
So it was the space shuttle, which they don't fly anymore. I can't remember how long ago it was when they last flew. But it's basically they're making an approach. So they've been orbiting around the world for however long, and they're coming to an approach to land. So they're going initially, before they start making their approach, at 17,000 miles per hour. All right.
17,000.
Yeah. It's crazy, right?
Whoa.
Yeah. So anyway, they finally they enter the atmosphere, they slow down, and they come onto their final approach. Basically, the initial approach, they come 90 degrees past the runway. So they pass the whole runway, and then they do a 270-degree turn to turn onto finals. So the video is actually on finals.
Yeah.
And because the space shuttle wasn't really designed to be a plane, it was designed to be a space shuttle. So instead of doing a normal 3-degree glide like we would do, if we were going to do an ILS,
when we come into land.
Exactly, we do 3 degrees all the way down, which is about 750 feet per minute. They're actually doing a 20-degree glide slope.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is why
steep.
I don't know if you, really steep. So if you noticed in the video, there was like a little target that's a little bit like our PFD, and they're actually aiming about 2,000 feet before the start of the runway. That's actually where they're aiming for to start with.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, and they actually start their flare or their pre-flare at 2,000 feet. Yeah,
no way.
Because they're still doing like over 300 knots.
That's true.
I think.
And we would normally do it at 40-ish, 30 feet, something like that.
Exactly. So we would do it at 40, 30 feet. 380, we'd do it at like 50 feet. They start the flare at 2,000 feet.
So who's flying? And who are the voices that we can hear?
So this is why I chose this this video, because I thought it was good for communication. So we can hear 3 people. One was mission control. So someone actually outside of the aircraft guiding them and helping them. The 2 guys one was the commander who's actually flying, and the other one is the pilot who's not flying, because you can't be a co-pilot, you know. You're flying space shuttle. You can't be a co-pilot. That's too.
Yes.
Yeah. So the commander is the one flying, and then the pilot is the one not flying, but he's the one kind of helping the commander down and making sure, okay, you're at this altitude now, the rate is good, and the whole time they're communicating with each other like, I think we're good, and they're, obviously they've got their own SOPs, they've got their own ways of speaking and ways of communicating, but I think it's cool that everything they're saying mattered, you know. Every little thing they were saying, it's great communication. And
100%.
Even though they're using standardized comms, there's still a little bit of non-standard, but everything is key and to the point and for a reason. You know?
And you could also see that, or feel that the way that they're talking, it was wasn't fast. The instructions were concise, short enough to take on board, but enough information that whoever the commander flying can make an adjustment.
Yeah.
And slow enough, the pace was good so that they could also take it on board, especially if you're feeling overloaded. Because they say the first thing to go when you're feeling overwhelmed and overloaded is your communication. So really nice, steady, slow pace, allowing the commander to take it on board before they then gave another input. No, really good. Really good.
Cool, right? Yeah,
good video. Good
Something
video.
was cool.
Is that something that we can also post to the Instagram?
Yeah, I think so. Post that. We'll post that on the line and
On the line?
Yeah. And actually, I have another good video. The whole video is like 17 minutes, but it's basically the full approach, but it's at night. But again, it shows like quite good communication. Yeah, so I'll post it. It's basically a guy he's not an astronaut, but I don't know if he works on Astro or not, but he basically explains how the space shuttle lands from being in orbit all the way to actually landing. And he has a great video, even though it's at night, it's a great video of them doing that 270-degree turn to landing. And yeah, really cool. Really cool.
No, that'd be interesting because that's something that I've never thought of before or I don't know anything about it. So no, that would be cool to watch.
Yeah, crazy. But that's like 17,000 miles per hour. It's nuts.
17,000 miles per hour. Gosh. Well, didn't BA just have a record for
they did,
flying from
New York, was it?
I want to say East Coast over to London.
Yeah,
some ridiculous speed because of the jet streams, because of the weather.
Like 800 and something.
Yeah, and they did it in record time.
That's wild.
But still 17,000.
Yeah, 17,000 is a bit crazy. Yeah, and I think the last 3 minutes they go from 38,000 feet to landing. 3 minutes.
In 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. 3 minutes.
That's a lot.
And they get one chance. They've got no fuel on board. It's basically just a big glider. There's one chance. There's no whole go around.
Yeah, no. Because you think for us on a normal day, I'm looking at half an hour, 40 minutes to get me from 38,000 feet down to landing, even on a with no delays, like a nice steady descent. Okay.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
Know that.
It's crazy. It's a good video. So I'll put it in the show comments, the link, and we can put it on the Instagram, as Michelle would say, just in case anyone wants to see. But yeah, 17 minutes long, but it's cool. And the guy that's talking is really he's a great communicator as well. So you watch the video, the way he presents, throws in a couple jokes here and there. Yeah, it's really good and really informative because I didn't really know anything about it. But yeah.
Okay, no, cool. It'd be a good watch.
Okay. Questions. Right. So we have 2 questions from the listeners this week. One of them was, they said, I wear glasses. Can I still become a pilot?
You can join my club. Of course you can. Yeah. Obviously, there are certain restrictions depending on, what, do I want to say how bad your eyes are, those kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can definitely still become a pilot if you wear glasses. I think the only way that you can get your eyes tested for a medical is by doing the medical. I don't think there's any thing separate that you can do that for. But if you've just had a regular eye test, regular prescription, nothing really seems to be jumping out that you think is a concern, then yeah. I've worn glasses since I was 13 or 14. And I think my eyes I'm short-sighted, -2, -2.25. So not a super strong prescription. But yeah, you can definitely become a pilot if you wear glasses.
Yeah.
100%.
And you just have to bring 2 glasses on every flight, right? You have to have a spare pair.
That's true. You need to have a spare pair. Yep. Yep, you need to have a spare pair. So I always carry And you can fly with contact lenses. Sometimes I'd say mostly my days off I wear contact lenses, like if I'm going to the gym or something, or just saves my little boy pulling my glasses off. So I wear contacts.
Fair.
But if you can wear contacts to fly, I find it makes my eyes really dry. So I just wear glasses. Yeah. But if you wear contacts, you just take a spare pair of glasses with you. If you wear glasses, you can have take a pair of prescription sunglasses as well. Okay. And I always have a couple of contacts in my liquids bag as well, just in case.
Nice.
Yeah, so...
Talking about glasses, coming back. Entertaining.
Wow, where are you going now, Aaron? Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm back. Talking about glasses.
I want to see these. Have you got some kind of head-up display, Ray-Ban?
Listen, these glasses are amazing.
Okay. Are they the Meta
Ray-Ban
or
Metas?
Something, whatever? Yeah.
Oh my god, they're amazing.
I don't even know what they actually do though.
Okay, so on one side of the glasses, just up here, you've got a camera. Yeah. And on the other side, you have a sensor. So basically, you can just...
This is exactly the kind of thing that I thought you would get, 100%.
I know,
This has got Aaron written all over them, 100%.
Telling you. So there's a little button up here. You can click the button. If you click it once, it takes a picture of what you're seeing. If you hold it for a second, it takes a video. Yeah. And I think it takes a video up to 3 minutes long. So it just takes anything that you're seeing, anything you're looking at.
Whatever you're looking at.
And it stabilizes as well. So if you're walking along or you're running, it kind of stabilizes the video so it's nice and smooth.
Yeah.
It also has little speakers in here too. So you can play music or...
Nice.
Game changer. And they're transitions as well.
Please don't wear those for flying. Please don't wear those for flying. You definitely can't wear those glasses for flying. Just FYI for anyone. Yeah.
Definitely can't wear them for flying. Definitely can't video you're taking off, approaches, nothing like that. But outside of that, definitely use them. Honestly, they're amazing. You could take calls,
what do you use
have a microphone in them.
You can
definitely
take calls.
Don't use them for flying. Definitely do use... Actually, you know what? I use them sometimes when I'm... just shooting, playing basketball down route if I go to an outdoor court because it's sunny, so I want to wear shades. But also sometimes it's nice to have music playing when I'm just like shooting. So I just put them on. I've got the shades, music's playing. Perfect.
Take a little video if you want to. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, exactly. Take a little video. We took a lot of videos when I was in Japan. And it's quite good, like when you're walking around or if you're doing an activity like, for example, kayaking or something where you're using your hands a lot. And you can just take a video and it's just taking a video. It's so cool. I honestly recommend them. And they're not that expensive either. I can't remember exactly how much, but they're not like crazy expensive. They're probably about as expensive as an expensive pair of normal sunglasses. So, yeah, and they've got like AI assistant in them as well. You can ask them to do stuff like play this kind of music, write some notes for me, ChatGPT, post something on the line.
Yeah. We're going to have to get rid of that, you know. You're going to keep bringing that up.
I am. That's it now. Yeah.
Yeah, cheers. That's it. That's
anyway,
what we're going to call it.
I recommend them. But if you're a passenger, you know, if you're a passenger sitting in the back, you know, you want to take some videos, it's just a cool way to like, it's videoing when you can be doing other stuff. So, yeah.
That's true. Cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
No problem. Yeah. Question 2. Yeah. It's the last question. All
right.
Where is it? Okay. It's from James. Would you change anything about your aviation journey so far?
Oh, that's a hard one because the position that I'm in now works really nicely, like career-wise, family-wise, works really nicely for me. I'm very happy with where I am, my job role, my part-time contract. That works really nicely. Would I change anything different? It's hard because if I said yes, then I wouldn't be in the position I am now. But I think there's just a little itch that I need to scratch of, look, would it be nice to do long haul one day? Maybe.
Mm.
Would I change my journey? Or just try go to a different base? I suppose there's always these kind of questions that pop up.
Yeah.
But I think all of the decisions that I've made, so for me, I try and make, whenever I'm making a decision, happy with that decision, and then you almost let it go and you move on. Because I'm not one to, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that.
Yeah.
Because in the moment, you didn't do it, and you didn't do it for a good reason, because you weighed up the options and you didn't do it.
Very true.
But there's always the future. So, no, I'm very happy, James. Yeah, and I'm happy with where I am now. Yeah.
That's good.
What about you?
You know, I was just trying to think while you're talking, like, is there anything I would change? I made some decisions that weren't great, maybe. I also made some great decisions. But would I change it? I don't know. No, but you know, when you make bad decisions...
some great decisions. Yeah.
But when you make bad decisions, you learn from it, you know? You learn from...
True.
You know, some things like when I was first trying to get into aviation, I went to 2 interviews. One was for BA, one was for EasyJet, and they were very close together. They were like weeks apart. And I was very underprepared. So
I think you've shared this story before.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I didn't know what was going on. Just so them kind of things, I'm like, yeah, maybe I would have gone into it a different way. But if I wouldn't have done that, then I wouldn't have had an extra 2 years out of aviation to do other stuff. You know, playing basketball, other opportunities that I had. So, because I was thinking maybe I would have changed and actually gone into aviation sooner.
Okay.
Because then I would probably be further on in my career at this point. But
sure,
like you said, you know, you didn't do something for a reason, or something happened for a reason. And maybe if I would have done it earlier, I wouldn't have had some opportunities that I've had along the way. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the decisions that I've made in my aviation journey so far.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, that's true. That's true. I think it's always easy to look back with the experience that you've got now, the knowledge that you've got now, think back to when I was 22. Would I have gone to university? Maybe. Would I have travelled a little bit more? Maybe. But at that point, I just wanted to fly. I just wanted to be a pilot. And then that was it, you know. Did I need to do chemistry as a degree, or could I have done something that I really, really enjoyed? Sports science. Yeah, but I didn't know then. That that could have also got me to the place, got me into my first job, those kind of things. So when you make a decision, use all the information, and then be happy with it. You know,
exactly.
Everyone will hindsight. If you could do your life again, you'd choose different things.
Yeah.
But then maybe you wouldn't have met Felicia. Maybe we wouldn't have flown together, and then you'd never have invited me to your wedding in the Bahamas. So
exactly. Exactly. All these things. That's it. You know?
Life is just little things, little coincidences that come together.
Yep.
Take you on your jet.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Nice. So that's pretty much it. Next episode, we're going to try and get another guest on, I think. But if
I think that'd be good.
Yeah, if we can't before the next episode airs, then I guess we will go on to the next topic. Which what's it gonna be? I don't even know.
Oh, let's not give too much away. We're still working on
make
it.
them come back. Carrot.
Cool. Top tips moving forward for communication. What you got for us?
Top tips moving forward, communication. Just practice. Put yourself into an uncomfortable situation and practice. Yeah.
My top tip: be aware of how you communicate, whether it's good or bad. Reflect. There we go.
Love it. Cool. All right. Until next time.
We'll see you later. Bye.
See you.